You're watching the Batter Fans Network.
The heroes are back. Beards talking balls, rapping pink and black. Coming live from the 305, it's official tissue. The Batter Fam, Chris and Dan, weekly rocking with you. We talk Messi, Boosie, Jordy, Lucho, the Fat Four, to Ben Cram, Noah, Ruiz, Fred. What more could you ask for? Tighten up and get ready, listen in on the pod. Solana and X in Espanol, just to even the odds. Breakdowns and gas bagging, join the tribe and just vibe. Free 99, don't forget to like and subscribe. Don't hesitate, say what's up, go ahead and come in. No question about it, I'm ready to get hurt again.
No question about it, I am ready to get hurt again.
Favi, the Herons are back. Welcome everybody to episode number 354 of the Battle Heroes podcast. I'm your host, Daniel Ganana, and alongside me, I got a special guest, Mr. Favian Renkel. How are you doing, sir?
Hey, honestly, I'm blessed to be on this. I love watching you and Chris, every week, really. And it feels like this is a time where Miami fans could use a little pick-me-up. So I'm glad to be on this episode, where everyone's like, fire Mascherano, fire everybody, get rid of Lujan, I was watching the last episode, and I was like, man.
Yeah. It's doom and gloom right now. I tried my best to be positive because, it's still early. But I guess we'll start there before we start talking San Jose. I know that you cover a lot of the MLS, so you know what's going on with Miami, obviously. Match importance. Is this an important match for Inter Miami?
You know what's funny is, like, in the grand scheme of things, it would not be an important match. But because they're in the form that they're in and where they're playing and them being there for 4 days before the match, I think 100% this match has become an important match for Miami. And maybe just maybe, this is the most important MLS regular season match Miami has had all season.
I agree. Up until this day, I guess it was Columbus probably.
Right.
Because of the form that they were in. But just based off of the circumstances that they find themselves in, I definitely agree this is a huge match for them. Because if they lose, and I was on the Discord, I was talking to some people on the Discord today. It's not just if they lose. If they get their ass kicked again. Because they've lost 4 out of the last 5. But 3 out of those 4 losses were ass kickings.
Yeah.
Vancouver kicked their ass twice. Dallas scored 4 on 3 unanswered. Like it's been really bad. So if they look poor tomorrow, things are gonna get really ugly down here, especially with the tough Orlando team coming this weekend.
Look, I'm expecting goals. I'm if I was a betting man, I'm
San Jose sucks at.
Well, hold on. San Jose has possibly the best offense in the league, right? We're talking about a team that has
also.
Yeah, Chicho Arango and Christian Espinoza, the leader in goals and assists. So it's like they're very capable of torching this back line. And if Minnesota did it, Minnesota has good players too. I think San Jose is as well. They're able to.
Christian Espinoza, the most underrated player in MLS?
100%. He's done it. He's done it 4 years in a row now. And he's been nominated for MVP every single season, but there's one nominee for every team basically, right? I mean, Christian Espinoza.
And nobody knows who he is.
Yeah, Christian Espinoza can walk around LA, even though he torches LA every time, and nobody knows. So it's interesting. I try my best out here. I really do as a reporter. I really, I have a couple of spreads of him. Did you know Christian Espinoza has a mural in the Bay Area?
No, I did not.
Yeah, he does. So I really try my best out here, to show some love to the local team. But yeah, man, it's weird. The Bay Area is such a weird market. It's really hard to kind of explain if you're not from here. But a lot of the money here is old money, so they own all the houses. But all the kids that grew up in the 90s, the 2000s, they can't afford houses here, so they move away, to be honest. So all the new people that are coming in aren't from the area. So that's why you kind of see this hysteria for Messi, because Messi's such a global name, but you don't see the same hysteria for the Quakes, because the Quakes fans, in my opinion, a lot of them have actually moved away.
Makes sense. We have a lot of that down here in Miami, right? There's a lot of Northeasterns up down here. So even though now everybody's a Panthers fan, right, for hockey because they're doing well, but before that, you would just see Rangers and Bruins fans down here representing a lot, and it's a lot of displaced people down here. So some people in the chat were asking, you're a San Jose fan. I don't know if you're allowed to call yourself a fan since you cover the league, but you are from that area, and that is a team that you've been close to for a while.
Yeah, look, I grew up as a fan. I mean, I grew up watching Chris Wondolowski, watching USA matches. So as a kid, I definitely was a fan. I tried to distance myself as much as I could to cover the league, right? Because you got to not be biased.
Right.
But now we can't be biased. No, I'm kidding.
Hey, on this show, when I do the MLS show, I try not to be biased. When I'm on here, I'm as biased as hell.
Yeah, no. I mean, it's really how. I mean, I could get into this, but journalism is completely changing. I mean, completely changing.
It is
overnight.
Yeah.
So yeah, the old style of journalism, you can't be a fan, but I feel comfortable saying, yeah, it was my growing up team. I mean, but I watched Inter Miami or Columbus versus any Liga MX team or any team in CONCACAF with the same kind of eyes I have for San Jose, right? So I'm more of a league guy first nowadays because I cover the league, right?
Yeah, I get you. You're the League Cup ambassador.
Hey, man.
All right. San Jose Earthquakes. Their season so far, I felt like a lot of people were overhyping them because of the Bruce Arena thing, Chicho Arango and Joseph, just because I felt like their biggest weakness last year was the defense, and I felt like they didn't do a lot to improve it. They started off, I think, hot. They cooled off a little bit. What could you tell us about the San Jose season as a whole so far?
Yeah, look, I mean, the defense is still the problem, in my opinion. So those things still linger. But offensively, this team can keep up with anybody. I mean, offensively, they can throw 4 or 5 in the back of the net with a team that can do just as much. Like when Portland came into town, that game easily could have been 6-1 if 2 goals weren't disallowed. So when this team is firing on all cylinders, I honestly look at them like a Ronnie Dyla team. Like it's going to be like a 4-3, and they're going to win.
Better than the.
I think we might have lost him, but 100% better than the current Atlanta United team. But basically, what I think is this team is very capable of doing a lot, and they actually got a lot of transfers in to go ahead and fill a lot of the holes that they had. I mean, Dewan Jones is a great addition for Bruce Arena. I mean, he already has 2 assists. But no, 100%. I think this is a very possible game that the Quakes could win, and I think there's a lot of Quakes fans going into this game thinking that they should get a win. But yeah, no, it's going to be a great matchup. I'm expecting goals. I'm expecting a new MLS Golden Boot leader to come out of this game. So 100%, I think this game is going to be full of offense, and the season for the Quakes is just going to get better from this point.
Could you hear me?
Yeah, no, but I kept on talking. Yeah.
No, but could you hear me now?
I can.
Okay. So I'm using my backup right now. Let me see. Oh, I'm back.
I was just telling the audience about basically how the season has gone so far for the Quakes. Yeah, I was telling the audience how the season's been for the Quakes.
Yeah. People keep pooping all over. Look, the last 2 days have been horrible for me, technology-wise. I apologize. All right. So you were telling them how they've done so far. Okay. Coming up on Wednesday, how's the attendance looking for the game? Because I saw an interesting tweet that you sent out that the second market is charging an arm and a leg.
Yeah.
There's still season tickets available.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, yeah, that was the craziest thing because I had a friend who just bought tickets too. And this is before even I knew this little workaround trick, right? You buy season tickets and then you get basically the rest of the games, which is 10, if I'm not mistaken, or 7, something like that. And I saw some seats that were still about $450. A secondary market ticket for Miami is going for $450. So it's like you might as well just buy the season tickets and get the rest of the games for free. But it looks like, see, that's why this whole San Jose fan situation is the weirdest thing to me because it's almost like it's a lot of nomads that live here, and they're just like looking for the quick game instead of possibly getting a season ticket and going to another game, right? So it is an odd one that I still see tickets available. But shoot, if you're a fan in the area in San Jose and you can get a ticket for Inter Miami and you get the rest of the whole year for free, you might as well do that.
Absolutely.
But like maybe like 80 maybe 80 to 100. So I kind of wanted to tweet it out for like people that are on Twitter that, hey, if you're thinking about going to the game, and you're a Quakes fan or a soccer fan, you might as well just buy those and then go see like San Diego, go see LAFC, LA Galaxy. Like there's still big matchups coming.
You expect it to be a sellout, I'm assuming, even though it's a Wednesday.
Yeah, 100%. And those tickets, if they don't sell those season tickets, what's going to happen is they'll give those out to family members of the staff and things like that. So 100%. I didn't see like more than 80. So those are going to be a sellout. It's going to be a sellout.
Awesome. That's wild. And what could you tell me? Because I've seen if you haven't followed already, make sure you follow Favian on Twitter. He's an awesome follow. You've been putting up videos of like Messi blowing kisses from his balcony. It's just weird how people are gathered on the bottom floor just staring up at him.
Yeah, look, I mean, word got out even before I knew where he was staying. People were telling me that, hey, I see them getting ready for this. Miami's coming into town. This makes sense if Miami's staying here. There was 2 hotels that they thought, and it ended up being one of them, right? So people just were around. I don't know if you guys ever been to Brickell in Miami.
Yeah.
That's kind of like the area that they're staying in San Jose.
Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
So it's like a high-end area. So you're going to get people walking around shopping, and it was Mother's Day. And then, of course, you see a crowd of people looking at, some pink team coming in. The word's going to get out pretty quickly that Miami and friends are staying here. And it was odd for Miami to come so early, like 3 days early. So people just started gathering around this hotel that actually was at like 2 days before they even got there because it has a nice bar. But I didn't even know that they were going to stay there. And basically, they're just huddling around like the guy's Michael Jackson, or like if the guy's Taylor Swift, or if Messi's as big as Taylor Swift, hoping to get a glimpse.
Messi's bigger than Taylor Swift.
Right. And people are bringing like paintings. People are bringing jerseys, flags. Like they're blocking the streets. Like it's totally like, hey, almost like the King of England type of deal, like Princess Diana. It almost feels like that the king is here, right? Like the goat's here. So it's interesting because I keep on getting videos, or I film the videos myself, of just hordes and hordes of people. 2 o'clock, 2 p.m., 3 p.m., 6 p.m., 8 p.m., doesn't matter. And then on the other hand, Messi coming out and waving is the weirdest thing I've ever seen from him. I've never seen him try to appeal the fan base in the United States that's not Miami.
I think that's what caught me the most off guard, is because I've seen those crowds for him in Asia, right? In places like that. But I think this is the first time I see it here in the United States.
Well, we have a big Asian population in the Bay Area, right? We have excuse me if I'm getting this wrong, Angel Island, where a lot of Chinese immigrants came in for the gold rush. So that's a part of our culture, right? So the link to Asia is very, very close. And then now in the tech boom, we have a big link with the Southern Asians, and they're big Messi fans too, right? So it is almost I don't want to say a full Asian crowd because there's a lot of Latinos here too, but it's Asian-esque when you're talking about that type of crowd and that type of fanfare, right? Like you saw it when he went to Hong Kong, you saw it when he went to Japan. This is that same type of vibe where it's like, dude, well, I mean, the ticket's $450. If I can see him off his balcony, that's pays for itself right there,
And Aaron Lee, I see your question, Aaron Lee. I make sure I bookmarked it. We'll ask that. We'll go back to that towards the end. All right, so let's get into it. Wednesday, big game for us. Probably not as big for you, even though I feel like everybody brings their A game against Miami anyway.
No, this is a huge game. This is a huge game. I mean, the Quakes are fighting to get fans. I mean, this is if you're a Quakes fan and you're saying, we don't need these Miami fair weather fans, that's a lie. Like 100%, you're just salty that they have Messi on their team, but 100%, the Quakes organization wants a good show from the Quakes, because you maybe can shock the fans that are there for the first time and make them into full-fledged Earthquake fans, or at least fans of the league, so they know two teams.
So you think it's a big game just because of the opponent?
100%. This is the biggest game in Quakes regular season history in maybe 10 years.
Oh, okay. See, because for us, I think it's a big game just because of the circumstance. No matter who we were playing tomorrow, San Jose or Colorado or Real Salt Lunas, like whoever we were playing tomorrow, it would be a big game for us just because we need to get out of this stench that we're in. But talking about San Jose, when we play them on Wednesday, tomorrow night, what can we expect to see as far as formation and tactics? Like, are they a counterattacking team? Do they like to hold possession? Like, what can we expect to see from Bruce Arena's side?
So this team is actually in a really weird spot right now.
Okay.
Hernan Lopez and Rodriguez. There's a lot of Quakes 1 players playing on the Quakes 2 team, which is the Town FC. And a lot of the Quakes 1 players are playing in the U.S. Open Cup because they're going to have a matchup next week on Tuesday versus Portland. So he might just play the hot hand, the team that has been playing. So Hernan Lopez, the nephew of Maradona, is a Quakes player, right? And he's a player that should be starting. But since he's, with the U.S. Open Cup team right now, with the Quakes 2 team right now, recovering from an injury that he sustained earlier in the season, we might not see him touch the field in this match. Bruce might go with the hot hand, the same guys he went with the last game in Colorado, excuse me. So we're going to probably see 3 in the back. We're probably going to see, like, if I'm not mistaken, a DM, which is usually – it was Noah Buck for the U.S. Open Cup, but if I'm not mistaken, it's going to be K. No, K was off the bench. Excuse me. Bo LaRue, which is a new guy who's 18 years old, kind of like an Ian Frey for you guys, a guy who's new, who's promising, who really has captured the fan base with everything he's done so far under Bruce Arena. And then on the wings, we have Espinoza, and then Chicho playing up top. If it's not Pellegrino on the left, it's going to be Oseni Buddha, which is basically our Kramaski. So a guy who's been drafted, who we thought the world of, is finally doing well in the Bruce Arena. A lot of young guys are doing very well in the Bruce Arena, which is actually really shocking because that was supposed to be, here's a Miami name for you guys, Luchi Gonzalez's forte. And then Luchi Gonzalez couldn't get that out of the earthquake. So seeing Bruce Arena, the guy who just brought in 10, 11 players from the New England Revolution, trusting the young pipeline guys in San Jose, it is shocking. But the Quakes like to play very direct. The Quakes like to, be fast with Espinoza on the wings, cross the ball in straight to Chicho Arango, and then it's like a 1-2 balls in the back of the net. So look for those two to just be on a different level compared to the rest of the guys, and then they basically carry.
Just real quick, the Lucci comment. He was my high school coach.
Oh, cool.
Solana, welcome.
Thank you. Sorry, I'm a little late. Had some daddy duties to take care of, putting my son to bed, but I was successful in doing that, unlike Inter Miami winning their last game. So hopefully tomorrow they are successful, but this is going to be fun. It's been a while since I've seen Fabi, so it's going to be fun, fellas.
No, it's going to be fun.
All right. So if I were to ask you, what is this? Oh, yeah, let me ask you first, and then I'll rebuttal because I know what you're going to say. What is the strength of this team?
Oh, I 100% think it's the attacking. I mean, Chicho Arango was an MVP before he fell off the face of the earth, and I don't think he's going to fall off the face of the earth this year. There was some off-field problems. There was some words said. He was suspended, and then that kind of just took over his mood. I mean, we have to remember that these people, maybe not Messi, but they're regular people, So they have regular issues, like Suarez needing to go to his brother-in-law's wedding. That's a normal problem. I had to go to a wedding last week, so I get it. No, but it is a normal thing to be, not good for a season. But Chicho Arango this season is completely different. He's back to his MVP ways. And then now you have a guy like Christian Espinoza, where the guy has the most assists career-wise for the Earthquakes, and still nobody knows who this guy is.
I was gonna ask no, because the thing is, you said the attack, and I figured you were gonna say the attack. And I know we were talking on our Spanish show last night on Las Garzas, and we were talking about how they lead the league in goals, 26 goals in 12 games, lead the league, but 14 of those came in 3 games. So to me, it's skewed because in 9 games they scored what, 14, 26, 12 goals. So they're slightly over 1 goal a game. So yeah, they have the capability of lighting it up, but they haven't done it that often. I'm not too worried about their attack.
I think they light it up when they need to, and I think tomorrow's going to be a game where they're going to want to light it up. And a lot of the games, either one guy's been injured, Chicho's been injured, Hernan first went down.
What happened to Joseph?
He's injured right now. He's actually
he was at batting practice today
you saw
for the
that?
San
You saw
Francisco
that?
Giants. So I don't know how injured he was. And not only that, but he's
I
a
saw him
switch
also
hitter.
taking pictures with J Balvin like a day or two ago.
Yeah, he's a switch hitter though, and he hits good from both sides. So hey, maybe he has a chance in the MLB once his playing days are over.
That Venezuelan connection is definitely there, right? Soccer to baseball, because there was jokes over here in the Bay Area like, hey, man, sign the guy up for a 10-day contract. That would be something.
It would be.
Weddings and migraines. I actually didn't see Fafa at practice yesterday, so that migraine.
He's out. He's out.
Yeah.
They already announced he's out for tomorrow. Him, Drake, which we knew because of the hernia surgery, and David Ruiz. Everybody else is good to go. So maybe Baltasar Rodriguez, which we'll get into in a second.
They actually didn't say he was out. They said he was questionable. So on the injury report, no. It says that Fafa is questionable.
Oh, I thought it was out. So it's just only David Ruiz and Drake are out.
That's correct. And
okay.
Obando and Baltasar Segovia are both off the injury report, so they should be both good to go.
And then Suarez is still partying out in Spain.
No, his wife hasn't posted anything in 24 hours, so we can't confirm that.
Okay.
Now to confirm, Suarez did not come out in any of the pictures that his wife posted. Just to confirm.
Okay.
So,
personal issue.
There you go.
Right.
There you go.
All right. So the strength, the attack. What would you say is the weakness? Because you guys have lost 6 games, so there has to be something going on because everybody was expecting. I'm assuming it's the defense, right? That's why they were horrible last year. They didn't improve much in the offseason as far as acquisitions go. Is that the weakness of the team?
Yeah, look, I think the defending is suspect at times. I mean, you're going to have Romney out there versus Lionel Messi, and that's must scare a lot of Quakes fans because he didn't do well in the Revs. This back line is a bit suspect at times. But if the Quakes are scoring goals and firing on all cylinders, I think this game could be a very high-scoring game, and I think people are in for goals tomorrow.
The goals that you guys score, are they off of set pieces? Are they off a counter?
Run a play. Espinoza takes the ball wide, kicks it to the top of the box. Chicho Arango, for some weird reason, is unmarked, and then boom, right there. He's wide open. If not, it goes past Chicho to Oseni Buddha, and Buddha puts it in the back of the net. But it goes through Espinoza. Everything goes through Espinoza.
No, I know. He's the most underrated player in MLS. People. My next question was going to be what player to look out for. I'll put one out there, Espinoza, because for some reason nobody knows who he is. I think he's the most underrated player in the league.
Yeah, on the West Coast, we were talking about who's the best winger, out here. It was Bouanga versus Espinoza for a while last season. And it's crazy because, maybe we're finally seeing more West Coast games because their games are a little bit more spread out. But last year, nobody knew who Espinoza was. And I still remember a time where Espinoza was at the MLS All-Star game in D.C., and my buddy Alonso Contreras, I don't know if you guys know him, he's a reporter in Orlando, yells out, Espinoza, ¿cómo estás? And nobody knows who that is, and he's just walking down the street of D.C. So it's funny because it's so true. He's like the best MLS player you've never heard about.
Got anything, Salam?
No, I wanted to talk to Fabi. I mean, obviously, regarding the game, we know that Inter Miami's weakness right now is they do a good job of dominating the ball, attacking, but it's on the counter is where their biggest weakness is. And we know that, San Jose's forwards, Chicho Arango, might not be the fastest guy alive, which is a little bit different than what we saw in the Minnesota game where they had fast forwards, fast wingers, and they were able to get on that counter. So if we're talking about that game tomorrow, you guys don't have those super fast wingers that we've seen over the last couple games. How is it that San Jose attacks? And you said that they get their goals in open play, but is it off of the wings? Do you guys attack, more down the middle? I don't think it's off of counters because, like I said, your forwards are a little bit on the slower side with Chicho and with Joseph. But how can we expect to see those goals in open play? Is it just going to be everything through Christian finding a through ball? Because if that's the case, Inter Miami should do a fine job. That's their forte is defending that way. It's really on the counter where they struggle.
Yeah, look, Chelo Wenga is going to have a big day. I mean, either way, they're gonna go that side. possibly if they can go quick with just Buddha kind of. So what happens too is Buddha kind of moves up to the striker spot, and Chicho kind of stays back for a 10. That's what they've been kind of doing as of recently, since they don't have Josef. And then they just go to the races, right? And they might take advantage of the space that Jordi Alba leaves when he comes all the way forward. Because
and Espinosa plays on that side, doesn't he? Does he play on the right?
And he plays all the way back. So
yeah,
if it's a foot race between Jordi Alba and Espinosa, I'm probably thinking Espinosa's gonna burn
sure.
Just because of the age, right? But yeah,
Jordi Alba won't be running to get back. Don't worry.
Yeah, so you're gonna get a lot of the center back coming over to help, and if Espinosa can pull one or two skill moves to get back past that guy, then it's off to the races. I mean, it's gonna be an open match, and in my opinion, I think it's gonna be an open match.
I know we were talking about Espinosa, most underrated player, we think, but for people that aren't familiar with San Jose, if there's somebody tomorrow night, you tell them, hey, you're gonna watch San Jose for 90 minutes. Look out for this guy. He's gonna stand out to you. This is a guy that's good, that you're gonna appreciate watching. Who would that be outside of Espinosa?
Daniel, the goalkeeper, is actually really good. Before he went down with the season-ending injury last year, the year before, he was like top 3 goalkeepers in the league. So Daniel, the Brazilian goalkeeper, is actually really good. Also, Oseni Buddha is another guy who was drafted, I think, in 2022, if I'm not mistaken, and was a seventh pick in the draft, was a Generation Adidas player, but he was supposed to be the first overall pick. And he wasn't, because a lot of times they go defenders first, guys who they can plug into the lineups already. And they
actually play, yeah.
Yeah, they don't actually take chances on offensive players. So this is a talent that's finally becoming like a player from the draft. And it's going to be interesting to see what he, flourishes into. But under Bruce Arena, he's had the confidence from the coach to finally flourish, and it's showing.
I just blanked out. So with the game, let me switch my head to the middle because I don't want to cover your face. With the game coming up, you're familiar with Inter Miami, so I ask you and Solana, and I'll start with Solana. Do you think, Suarez not being available, that we come out to play against San Jose with this formation again? Messi as the false 9, with 3 CDMs playing in our midfield and 2 midfielders playing as our wings?
I mean, I would hope not. I would hope not. I would hope that Mascherano learned a little bit something from the last game. Although, like we talked about on the Spanish show last night, I don't think that he was too off when in his post-game comments he said that Inter Miami basically dominated the whole game. I agree, they dominated the whole game. They just let their guard down 2 or 3 times for a few minutes within the game, and that's where they got their goals.
That's silly, though. Minnesota let them dominate. Minnesota lets the other team hold the possession. It makes it look like the other team's dominating, but Minnesota, that's how Minnesota plays.
No, nobody lets anybody dominate soccer. Nobody just.
Yes, they do. Minnesota gives them the ball and literally just absorbs all the pressure. That's Minnesota's game plan week in and week out.
I mean, if we see the starting lineup again, it's going to be another Mascherano disaster class, because I think he needs to move some pieces around. Hopefully we see some new faces. Hopefully Obando gets back into the lineup, but
hopefully Lujan's out there.
Look, yeah, maybe we see Maxi Falcon again. I'm more of the idea that Messi needs to play on the right side like he did last year when Tata Martino was the coach as a winger. Allende could play on that left side, and then you can have Suarez. If he's not there, you have Obando, and if not, you can put Allende on the middle and even Baltasar on the left. But you need to have Messi on the right side, because that way he can open the field more and use what he's good at doing in going one-on-one against players and cutting into the middle and shooting. That's what he's good at doing, and that's what he needs to do. And he has more space out on the wing. So that's what I want to see tomorrow.
Well, and I think that is the benefit of him being out on the right side, is that he has the space, right? He doesn't need people to create plays or he doesn't need anybody to create anything for him, right? He doesn't need service. Well, he needs a space, and he needs people to help him get that space. Now, Fabian.
Let me ask you guys this. Can we just do a quick trade of Toto Aviles for Josef? Like, can we just do that? Can we just...
Well, you know what? I'd take Joseph as a backup again.
Really, Danny?
A quick trade? I mean, you guys aren't using him. He's playing baseball over here.
Yeah, I'd take Joseph as a backup. A lot of people are hating on Joseph for the same reasons that they're hating on Suarez this year. And I always said, Joseph's making the right runs, creating the right spaces. Yes, he's not doing his full job because he's not finishing as much as we want him to. But I thought Joseph was playing a decent year. And the same thing that Suarez is doing this year. He's not finishing as much as he should, but he still has the brain to make those runs. Now, the last couple of weeks has been kind of rough because everybody's kind of just been crowding the box on us, so he's been able to do nothing. But I take Joseph as a backup, absolutely.
Like, why'd you guys keep Toto Aviles to keep him on the bench and then get rid of Facundo Farias, right? Like that to me is probably one of the worst moves Miami did all offseason already.
I don't know. Because we want to give Lujan an opportunity to play. That's why.
Well, and they keep putting Mascherano keeps putting Toto Aviles as a 5.
Yeah,
in
that's
the midfield.
Wild.
He keeps subbing out either Busquets or Redondo and putting in, which he hasn't played terrible as a 5. He hasn't played terrible. He's aggressive. He seems like he can, but he just doesn't have, I think, the vision to play that spot.
Not yet.
And he's better in the back line. And I would prefer to see him over Lujan in the back line. But I see the chat is just roasting me
for what?
saying that possession doesn't win games and that goals win games. But look, the last time that I watched soccer, which is every single day of my life, 9 times out of 10, the team that holds the most possession in the game usually wins the game. That's usually how it works. You can keep the ball away from the other team. Now, just so happens that Inter Miami had a couple of bad mistakes on the counter, and Minnesota capitalized. Last year, we were getting lucky, and they wouldn't have capitalized, or we could have not, allowed them to score, and we were getting those bounces our way. That's just the difference between this season and last season, and one of the many differences between this season and last season.
I agree that a lot of times when you look at that stat in itself, you kind of could tell who dominated the game. But there's certain teams that just like to play the counter and just sit back and defend, and Minnesota's one of them. And so it doesn't always tell the full story. And I don't think it told the story, honestly, this past week. I was going to ask Favian, but I guess I'll ask. Oh, there he goes. Favian, from the outside looking in, I'm sure you've heard. You said you watched our show last night when everybody was gloom and doom. Mascherano, do you think that he has overstayed his welcome already?
This one's tough because I don't want to give up on a person that fast. I want him to be able to, prove me wrong when it comes to at least seeing if they can adjust. But man, how nice would it be if you guys had Data right now? Like that's what I'm thinking. Yeah, you guys kind of jumped the gun a little too fast on the most points in an MLS regular season, in my opinion.
No, in mine also.
But who could you get now that can, coach Messi in any capacity, right? Who can you get now before the Club World Cup? And I think you're kind of stuck with Masche at least till after the Club World Cup.
I agree.
There's a guy sitting on his couch somewhere in Spain named Xavi Hernandez, who I'm sure a lot of fans would love to see him be the coach. And look,
I don't know if you guys heard, he was just linked to Monterrey.
I did see that. But I'll tell you this, Danny, a lot of people are giving Hansi Flick the credit, and he does deserve credit for what he's done with Barcelona. But the one who started this rebuild and who started playing the young kids like Pedri and the other kids like Lamine Yamal was Xavi Hernandez when he was the coach of Barcelona. So he does have an eye for talent.
Was Yamal there with Xavi? I don't think he was there with Xavi.
Oh, yeah, he was. He brought him up.
Yamal?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he did. But he did. I know 100% he brought up Pedri and a couple of the other young guys. So, look, I wouldn't be against, and again, I'm not saying that we got to fire Mascherano. I think right now the best thing for the team is like some of the chat says continuity and keeping him there and allowing him to try to figure this out. I mean, you can't just, I mean, at the end of the day, Inter Miami is only 5 points out of first place or 4 points out of first place, one game in hand in the Eastern Conference. I mean, you can't fire a coach for losing 4 games at the start of the season. You just can't do that. This isn't Europe.
I will tell you real quick. I know Rafinha came out recently and criticized Xavi because he said that Xavi would always take him out like in the 60th minute. He didn't, and he felt like with Flick, he finally had a chance to kind of grow. All right, back to Wednesday's game. Favi, let's say hypothetically you are a degenerate gambler, and you decide you're going to put the house on Miami. I'm just gonna bet literally the house on Miami. I'm betting my house. And then game day comes around, and you start getting a little nervous. You're like, oof, maybe I made a mistake. So you need to make sure that your bet goes through, that you win this bet. So you see Mascherano, you walk up to him because for some reason you have access to him.
Oh, yeah.
You go and you whisper in his ear, this is how you beat the earthquakes. What are you telling him?
I would say this. Give Fafa an Advil.
I mean, it would be help, definitely.
Because if there's one player that knows how to torch us, it's Fafa Pico, because he was always on those Vancouver teams and the Houston teams that would always beat us, right? So I think Fafa should be used for MLS play, like every single game, because he has the speed, he has all the experience in the world, he plays up to big games. The guy was a former DP. Like, we have to remember that, you know? And I feel like he's not very respected in that top three. I mean, all of a sudden, Segovia's a wing and Kermaski's a wing.
And he's not. They're not.
And it's just like, well, you guys have the speed, you know, on the bench or with migraines. But, yeah, personally, I would be like, dude, give Fafa some Advil because I'm about to give it to him myself.
I think Fafa would have started if he didn't have that issue this past week. What I hope, right, because I have no idea, but I hope that Mascherano wanted to do when he finally changed to a 4-3-3 with 2 8s is that he wanted to put Segovia as one of the 8s, and Fafa would have kind of just slid in there at the left wing. I hope that those were the original intentions, but I guess we'll find out tomorrow now that Fafa possibly could play, because I think Segovia as an 8 would be great. Because he is a less defensive Diego Gomez. Gives you a little more in the attack, a lot less on the defensive end, but he can still do the whole box-to-box 8 thing. And I think that's what Segovia could do. Solana, go ahead.
The name is crossing my mind, but the usual guy who plays on the wing,
Allende,
excuse me. Why not play Allende at the striker, Fafa on the left, Messi on the right? Let Messi roam.
That's what we've been saying, man.
Like what do we bring Allende in for? Like what's going on?
Let Master know tomorrow when you whisper in his ear. Watch the battered herons before you put the lineup together.
Can I swear?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, you say.
Chris is on this show on a regular basis.
He's gonna just start saying "puta madre" the whole time.
Oh yeah. Yeah, that was weird.
That was weird, right?
Yeah, that was weird.
I was the only one like, wait, what are we yelling about? It was because Franco asked him a question, right?
Yeah, Franco asked, I forgot, how do you feel about the reason for a play or something? Puta madre. Estamos bien. Right.
I mean, you ask stupid questions, you're going to get stupid answers. I mean, that's all. Obviously,
that was a good question. I mean, I feel like that's like the question everybody goes for, right?
How would you feel? Yeah, but how would you feel? Obviously, I'm not feeling that great. How is he going to respond?
It was the clip of the press conference.
Yeah,
ended up working out.
True.
Solana, do you think that we get Baltasar into the game tomorrow?
Honestly, I'm not sure if he's going to get minutes just because he's coming back from an injury. It was a hamstring injury, and those are tough to come back from. But I don't think we'll see him. I hope we do. I hope we see him at least 10 to 15 minutes so that we can kind of see, how he folds into this kind of mess that we have going on right now. But I think you're more likely to see Obando tomorrow than you are seeing Baltasar. But as a person who wants to see some more football on the field, I really hope Mascherano gives him some minutes.
You think Obando starts?
If he's good to go, I know he had a slight knock at practice the other day, and that's why he was just on the bench the other day. He was an unused substitute. Personally, I don't even think he would have dressed had Fafa been healthy, and Fafa would have been either starting or on the bench. But the fact that he's not on the injury report anymore makes me think like he could be somebody who could start in the attack for Inter Miami.
Yeah. All right. So I guess it's prediction time, and then I'm going to go back to a question that somebody asked in the very beginning. But let's go predictions first before we move on to that last topic. Favian, we usually start with our guest. Prediction for tomorrow night. What are you thinking?
Yeah, I think it's going to be a 3-3 match. I think it's going to be a high, potent, open game, and then I think Messi Magic is going to go ahead and tie the game up. And then everybody leaves happy with the draw.
I mean, I would like a win, but I think a draw on the road in the MLS is a win.
especially this far away from home. They
Yeah.
all missed Mother's Day, so they're
Yeah.
feeling sad. They're not up to it, you know.
Yeah, but remember, Mother's Day in Uruguay and
Yeah.
Argentina is not until next Saturday, I think. So who knows if they were really celebrating how they celebrate out here.
I'm gonna go 3-1. I think we keep San Jose off the score sheet.
At home,
not a clean sheet. Yeah. Let me see how has San Jose fared at home so far.
I mean, I think they have a 6-1 win at home, and another 4-0 win at home. If I'm not mistaken.
I think the last time that San Jose had a clean sheet was opening day on February 22nd.
no, not going to be a clean sheet. I can tell you that.
Right. I know, but I'm just saying, like, defensively, like, KC scored on them, Minnesota scored 1, Colorado scored 2, Charlotte scored 4, but that wasn't at home. Seattle scored 1. Have you guys lost at home? No, I don't think you guys have lost at home this year.
Now that I think of it, yeah, we've only tied.
Yeah. But yeah. I think 3-1. I'm going to go
Jose
3-1. If Mascherano does what I'm hoping as far as lineups go, if he gives us the shit that we got last game, then I take it all back.
So San Jose has 1 loss at home. They've got 3 wins, 3 ties, 1 loss, and they're 2-3.
Who did they
2
lose
wins,
to at home?
3 ties on the road this season.
Oh, they lost to Minnesota at home 1-0. Okay. They got shut out. You see that? They got shut out at home.
Yeah, but Minnesota is
Yeah, no, I know. We know. Solana, your prediction.
I'm with Favi. I don't know if it's going to be 3-3, but I think it'll be 2-2. And I think that's what I said last night on the Spanish show. If not, then I'm clearly just talking out of my ass right now. But I think it'll be 2-2. The fact that Inter Miami is missing Suarez, we don't know, how Obando's going to fit into the lineup. We don't know if Baltasar is going to play. There's just a lot of question marks in the air right now. So I think if they can get a 2-2, just getting a point, coming home with 1 out of 6, and seeing them play a little bit more improved than what we've seen in the last, 48, 72 hours, then, I think I'll be happy.
Look, if we get a point, I mean, obviously I'm disappointed. I want to win, but I definitely think that a draw is a decent result on the road in the MLS. But I definitely want to, and I think Miami is starting to feel the pressure in the locker room. Everybody's saying, "Oh, they look unhappy." Like, they're feeling it. I really do think they're feeling it. That Mascherano response to that simple question, "How you feeling?" They're feeling annoyed. They're feeling the pressure, and I really do think that they're going to come out with a point to prove. And I do think that they'll have a convincing one, maybe. But if Mascherano comes out with a weird ass lineup again, who the hell knows? All right, I told Aaron Lee that I was going to come back to this, and I am. He asked this question at the very, very beginning of the show. What do you guys think about the rumor of Messi not renewing his contract? Now, I've said it a few times that I think that he's going to be back for at least another year, on top of the fact that he basically is going to be a part owner. He wants this. He needs to be part of that new stadium next year, and he needs the team to be successful moving forward. So I don't think that there's any chance that he doesn't play next year. Now, the rumors that he was going to play in 2027, now those, I didn't think that he would ever play then. And maybe that's in question now. But I turn it over to you. Favian, what do you think about Messi not renewing his contract?
Yeah, this is a standard kind of play to get either more money or more assets for the people around you or something. I mean, Messi, let me say this. I think Messi's been a better businessman in the United States than an actual player, all right? And I think Mas by Messi.
Player is the MVP.
Mas by Messi has become a drink that's in every Safeway or Publix around in the country. So he's been a GOAT businessman, and this is just another ploy for him to get more for the people around him. Because if I'm in Miami, I'm cutting Busquets, Suarez, maybe keeping Jordi on a TAM level, but 100% Bussi's out. Like, Bussi is traded to like Vancouver with that salary. Like, anyway I can get rid of his salary to take him anywhere.
Well, he's a free agent.
The Barca 4, the Barca 4 all their contracts are up after this year.
Right. So maybe Messi's trying to do his best to kind of get them to re-signed, at least But if you're in Miami, you don't bring him back unless they're all TAM deals. That's for sure.
Solana, what do you think?
So I have it on good word because I spoke to a buddy of mine who's in the no earlier today, and I have it on word that if Messi does not resign, he'll retire. Those are the two options.
Before the World Cup? That's crazy.
Well, the thing is, where would he go? He's not going to Saudi Arabia. So all that garbage that you're hearing about Saudi Arabia, don't even pay attention to that. This is nonsense. He's not going to Saudi Arabia. He's not going to go to Barcelona just because I don't think that Barcelona, one, I don't know if they can afford him. And two, I don't see how he fits there. Like, they have a good, solid squad. And I know that everybody's like, oh, but he's a god over there. I don't know if they would plug him in right now over there. I don't know how that would work. I'm not in the know in the Barcelona. I don't pay that much attention to Barcelona anymore.
I think he eventually goes back for a day, like a day contract
to retire as a Barcelona.
Yeah.
The day Laporta's gone, the day Laporta's no longer there will be the day that he goes and signs a one-day contract because they seriously do not get along. That's why I don't see him going back to Barcelona. And I know some folks have said some stuff about Newell's, but I just don't see him going back to Argentina and playing in Argentina. I believe
that as the only other option. I can't imagine anything else.
That would be too big of a distraction before the World Cup if he wants to play in the World Cup, in my opinion. It's a little different than Suarez going to play in Nacional, which is like maybe a good environment for him to go and get ready, like kind of like a summer camp type of deal. And then, but for Messi, it's just like the guy's a god. Like, it's going to probably be hard for him to go from living in the U.S. to then living in Argentina, being a god, and then playing in the U.S. for a World Cup again. It's going to be, I don't think it's going to happen.
Look, for 2026, I think he's here. I think he's going to be, at some point, he's going to sign that extension. He will be here next year. I've said it forever, and I still think that that's what's going to happen. Now, the 2027, I remember when that started coming up, I really thought that was odd. I got excited about it because I would love to have him an extra year. But if he is frustrated, maybe he just plays out one more year in 2026 and then bows out.
All I know is if he was frustrated, he wouldn't be on his balcony waving like he's the Pope, all right? All I know is San Jose relit this man, and he's ready to go off on a tear and win MVP again. We're talking about Chicho Arango being MVP right now, not Messi. I'm telling you, they're waking up a beast by waving to him from his balcony. That's for sure.
And I see somebody asking about KDB. Kevin De Bruyne, his discovery rights are now with Chicago.
Yeah, now with Chicago. I'm hoping they swap for Neymar's rights. I mean, like.
Well, it's funny because I thought that, but I don't want Neymar because when he started as Santos, I was like, oh, look, he was pulling one over the Saudi Arabia team saying that he was injured, but then he got injured again.
My thing is, my madness of that whole discovery rights thing is, did Miami just give away that for free, or did MLS say, all right, whoop, we're gonna, because since Jordi Alba's a DP now, you can't have it here, But they should have known that when San Diego got rid of his rights and Miami picked it up. So I'm pretty mad about this whole discovery right rule. I want it to come out that they traded for Neymar's rights, discovery rights, because then it would make sense why they would give away KDB's rights for nothing, right? So I don't know. I'm more mad at the rule rather than why does Chicago have it.
And Sir Akti saying that Modric is coming off the bench for Madrid. Messi is definitely better. Messi can easily play for Barca. I don't think Messi's coming off the bench. I can't imagine him going and playing off the bench. Maybe, but again, I don't follow Barcelona closely enough to have a serious opinion. A lot of people probably know a lot better than I do. Favian, give me a percentage. Angel Di Maria on Inter Miami this summer.
If they were flying high still, I would say 75. But because where they're at now, where everyone's like clamoring for them to get younger, I want to say like 40.
Solana?
I'm going to go 65%. I think he's, this is still the Messi and Friends season, and they're going to do whatever they can. And look, I know Di Maria is a little older. He's been injured lately, but I still think he can do some crazy stuff in the MLS. I mean, we saw what he did in the Copa America last year, and he was still doing very well. We saw what he did earlier this year in Portugal. And look, he still has something left in the tank. I think with a little bit of less talent, something where you're not playing every 3 days, you're playing every week. He might be able to do something special here with Inter Miami.
And Marasovic saying it's still very viable.
Look,
we need a left winger, right? We say we that's been the talk over the last couple of weeks. We have no wingers. Like we're like, oh, we have a lot of depth. We have a lot of depth. All of a sudden, we have no wingers.
look, I mean, you could tell Di Maria, hey, Orlando's not that far. You have the bright line. You can see Messi within 30 minutes. You just hop on the fast train. You know, Orlando has Disney World. You know, there's friendships there. There's a full of Latinos. You say, hey, welcome to Florida, but you're not going to be on Miami. That's what Miami should be thinking.
And then again, just because I know you follow Inter Miami and you're an outsider looking in, I kind of like to pick people's brains. So I'll end it with this. Inter Miami, no Champions Cup this year. Can they still salvage this season?
No, failure.
Because they didn't win the Champions Cup.
100% a failure.
Okay.
Because 2026 comes around, Messi's not thinking that. He's thinking World Cup. So I think you lost your window to win a Champions League or Champions Cup.
Okay. That's fair. I hadn't considered that thought process.
Because
next year he's going to make sure he's healthy for the World Cup.
Exactly. The way he treated Copa America, where he was like not injured or he was resting or Tata was resting him, I think we're going to see that again in 2026.
That's interesting. I had never considered that. That's an interesting point.
The Champions Cup is up until June, right? So he's not going to risk.
Usually.
Yeah, he's not going to risk a semifinal in Monterrey right before the World Cup. No one is going to, right?
That's interesting. I hadn't considered that. So if we win the MLS Cup this year, it's still a failure because we didn't get the Champions Cup?
100%.
Okay. I think it's a success if you win the MLS Cup, but I get what you're saying, right? Because you want the biggest trophy.
I think – see, this is where I'm mad. I think they should have kept Tata for the Champions Cup. And if he bowed out of it, then you fire him. Mache wasn't at any place, so you could have just said, hey, Mache, maybe we'll bring you on for an assistant coach for now, learn under Tata for a bit, and then we can move you up, right? Personally, I would have kept Tata till the end of the CONCACAF Champions Cup. And this is why the CONCACAF in soccer is weird, because you have your biggest tournament at the beginning and the middle of your season instead of at the end, right? So I don't know. I really thought that was very inexperienced to get rid of Tata and losing. Yes, it was an embarrassing loss, but 100% the CONCACAF Champions Cup loss to Vancouver was way worse.
Absolutely.
So, yeah, you can win MLS Cup, sure, but who's on the West that's really a contender this year? Nobody. Vancouver, sure. Vancouver.
We could get some payback, right? If we were to beat Vancouver in the final, it's a little bit of payback.
I just wonder if Vancouver can keep the hot streak up. And that's
thank you, because I was going to ask you, and I'll ask Solana since Solana's been looking there quiet. Solana, if Vancouver loses to Cruz Azul in the Champions Cup final, and then we go ahead and we beat them in the MLS Cup final, Miami had a better season than Vancouver, even though they made it to the final, no?
Yeah, I would say so. And just to back it up and to be completely honest, and I don't know if you've heard what I've said about Vancouver, Favi, but I don't think that they're a fraud, but I also don't think that they're as good as what they did to Inter Miami. I think they had a good game plan, but I think Cruz Azul is going to just expose them, and we're going to really get to see how good this Vancouver team is with Baby Berhalter in the midfield.
Well, he's not going to play the final. So
I know.
I think he's becoming a good player in this league. I think he's becoming in the upper echelon.
He's another underrated player.
Yeah, and I think he's finally being what he is. I think they're going to struggle a bit integrating Ryan Gauld back into this team because he is their best player. But it's going to be kind of like how Ricky came back to the Galaxy last year, and the team struggled a bit. I think they lost like 5 games, or they tied a couple of those 5 games, and they had a hard time adjusting. Now, can Ryan Gauld do the Ricky Puig thing and take this team to the next level when everybody's playing playoff soccer? It's going to be very hard to see if he is that Ricky Puig level type of player. So personally, if Miami does well in the Eastern Conference, I think it's a pretty easy cakewalk for MLS Cup. So I still think it's a failure winning that, because it's almost like you have Messi, you need to win the CONCACAF Champions Cup. Like, as of right now, Messi, all right, this is going to sound crazy. This is a crazy ass take. But as of right now, Messi's tenure as an MLS player has been a bust.
He's only won one
Doing
trophy.
to me.
He's not
He's
wrong.
only won one trophy.
He's only won one trophy.
Leagues Cup, the trophy that I love. I think is the best trophy in the world. He's only won Leagues Cup.
He's been in the playoffs once.
Exactly.
Okay, but so he has to win everything for it to be a success?
He came off of Ballon d'Or season.
Yeah, I know, but when he got on the team, there was a reason why they were in last place, because they were getting ready for Messi in the summertime. So everybody was like, oh, your team was last place. Shut up. We purposely were last place because we didn't sign anybody. But at that point, it was very hard to make it to the playoffs. And we probably would have if he didn't get injured, actually, that season, because we were a couple points out at some point because we got a crazy win streak once he started playing the regular season. Go ahead.
I'm going to say this, and Solana's going to love this one. As of right now, Nicolas Lodeiro has had a better career in MLS than Lionel Messi.
He did. He won 2
because
MLS
he's played
Cup.
here like a million years.
What do you
Let
mean?
Messi play here a million years. See who has a better.
But he has a CONCACAF Champions Cup.
But Messi has a comparable career so far, and he's been here for like what, a year and a half.
Yeah,
Comparable. I wouldn't say comparable.
Statistically, we're already comparable already.
I
To
still
Nico
think
Lodeiro?
we're talking about a Ballon d'Or winner versus a guy who could barely touch the Uruguayan squad.
Okay,
right?
but we're talking MLS level right now.
Okay, but I'm saying
after this season, we'll have the MLS Cup. He has a supporter shield.
Wait, hold on. Now the supporter shield's a real trophy. I mean,
I hate the supporter shield, but I know some people. But I know I hate that trophy. I think it's stupid. But you know how people are about the supporter shield. Come on, really, Nicola Lodeiro, come on, you guys are crazy. Pull down your skirts. Your Uruguay is showing. Yeah, your Uruguay is showing.
No, but seriously,
I don't think it's been a failure.
If Messi doesn't win a CONCACAF Champions Cup during his time in MLS, I think he can't be the best MLS player of all time.
I have a question for you.
Yeah.
He was looked at as the best player in the world forever, right?
Yeah.
But in the last, I want to say close to 10 years, maybe it was 8 years that he was in Barcelona, he only won 1 Champions League. Like, it's not easy to win these tournaments.
I think it's because of his international kind of game, right? His international game started taking off. Like, he started going to finals. He started to, the Copa America. Like, I think it was international.
But he didn't win those either. Like, it took him forever to win those. I'm just saying, like, he is the best player in the world, even without winning those trophies. He kept winning the league over and over again, right? Like, Barcelona won in the 2010s. I think they won it like 7 or 8 times. So they won the league. But those tournaments are hard to win.
Where would Carlos Vela be to you if you had to rank him and Messi right now as all-time MLS players?
But you're talking about just MLS.
Yeah,
just MLS. Carlos Vela at MLS level. Carlos Vela, because how many seasons did he have on top with LAFC?
Vela
like 3 years?
2 CONCACAF finals. Messi has one.
But he had like 3 good years with LAFC?
Like monumental years. Yeah, like we're talking player.
But that's what I'm saying. So he had 3 years. He's been in the league like 5. Messi's only been here like a year and a half. Yeah, give him some time.
If you're gonna go just off of stats, Zlatan Ibrahimovic has had per game a higher goals per game, if I'm not mistaken.
You are mistaken.
I think it's 1.6. I think it's something crazy.
Well, Messi gives you more than just goals. I bet you he has more goal contributions per game.
That's true.
Like,
but we're talking about This
is what I have to say to you, Fabian. I'm
the biggest Messi guy here. I mean, like, let's really talk about it. But it is an interesting topic. I mean, I think he missed his window for the CONCACAF, and I felt like he needed to have that to say he was guaranteed the best of all time in MLS.
I think that after he leaves, they should change. After Messi leaves the MLS, they should change the Landon Donovan trophy to the Lionel Messi trophy.
You're tripping.
Absolutely.
You're tripping.
Absolutely. Because
No
he
way.
put MLS on the map.
Okay.
If he resigns, they might. If he resigns, they might.
Look, I am all for it because he is the one that all of a sudden brought legit worldwide relevancy to the MLS.
So does Zlatan? David Beckham?
David Beckham. Come
David
on.
David Beckham was a
MLS
bullet.
Cups.
Yeah, but nobody paid attention to it.
David
He's
Beckham
like-
is the reason we have DPs.
That's fine because that was the only way to sign him. But nobody in the world cared. Like
David
who did he
Beckham's the
bring
only
over?
reason Inter Miami exists today.
But David Beckham, that's cute. But fine, change it to David Beckham trophy. But David Beckham, who did he bring with him? He didn't bring Wayne Rooney. Wayne Rooney eventually came like years later. Well, who did he bring? He never brought in Roberto Carlos, which was his buddy.
He brought Robbie Keane.
Yeah, I would say Robbie Keane.
Okay, to the Galaxy. Okay.
But they won with Robbie Keane, Donovan, and Beckham.
He also
Yeah.
brought
How many years did it take him
Ashley
to win?
Cole. He also brought Ashley Cole.
They didn't win right away.
Gerard.
He didn't bring Gerard.
Steven Gerrard.
But I mean, he knew the connection though. He knew the Galaxy.
What I'm saying is, how many times did they win? And the league was shit back then.
How about they won 3 times if I'm not mistaken?
But they didn't win immediately, is what I'm saying.
No, they lost 2 seasons if I'm not mistaken, and then they won the next 3.
And that league was what? Like it was like 15, 14 teams. Like there was a bunch of plumbers going ahead.
Oh,
and
you mean-
half of them were like, come on,
mean
and
like
he
a
couldn't win
normal
it back
league?
then.
You mean like a normal league in every other country that only has 18, 19, 20 teams? Oh, okay.
No, I'm talking. Well, exactly. It's a lot harder right now to win it. Could you imagine trying to win it when there's 30 teams here?
And then
No,
they
it's
had
not that hard. It's not that hard at all. Everybody makes the playoffs.
They had to do an Asia tour as well, and
It's not easy to win the playoffs.
Oh my gosh. Okay, you're right.
All right, man. You guys are frustrating me.
But here we go. Was the trio of Beckham, Robbie Keane, and
don't
Landon
even do
Donovan
it. Don't
better
even do it.
than
Don't
the
even
Barca
do it.
boys?
Don't even
As
do
of
it.
right now,
Look,
I mean, they won trophies.
I stand by that MVP trophy should eventually become the Lionel Messi trophy, but for the time being, it should be the Carlos Valderrama trophy
okay.
because
At
he
least
was the
you're-
first MVP.
Yeah, I like that
Why the hell did Landon Donovan get it?
because he's the best MLS player of all time.
Messi will
Because he-
soon be that.
Because he played almost his whole career here.
Yeah, true.
Still. So did Kai Kamara. Let's call it the Kai Kamara.
No, the Chris Wondolowski. Put some respect on San Jose's name, all right? No, I was kidding.
Will he
All right.
be at the game tomorrow night?
Yeah,
Will he
yeah,
be there?
yeah. He definitely he still works with the team, so yeah, he'll be there.
Nice.
Yeah.
All right, and I apologize for the chat today. Chris is usually the one that's on top of the chat, and I've tried my best to keep up with it.
They're all like, Bobby
but-
crazy, Bobby. Like,
I know, and I haven't been putting up a lot of them because it's hard to talk and be on top of this at the same time. All right, Favi, appreciate you taking the time to join us, talk a little San Jose and Inter Miami. I'll let everybody know where they can follow you, at least the ones that don't hate you right now.
you can follow me at Favian Renkel. It's funny because if you like Messi, you probably already seen my posts. So so make sure you follow. Don't just hit that like, follow, and that'll be nice. That'll be nice.
All right, but absolutely no. Fabian is an awesome follow. He covers the league. He is the Leagues Cup ambassador, and he's also joined us a bunch of times on the Battered MLS Fans show, which is awesome. So thank you, Fabian, for taking the time. The worst of luck to you tomorrow night. Solana, do you have any final words?
I can't think of anything to say right now other than Messi's going to have 2 goals tomorrow.
Okay.
I like that. I really hope that he just gives you the finger tomorrow, Fabian. I don't know where you're going to be sitting, but I really hope he just sees you and just gives you the finger for saying that.
Hey, I was pretty close to that game.
Nicoladero has a better MLS career. Oh my God, the disrespect.
I'm gonna be texting Messi in about 25 minutes and giving him all the dirt from this show. Give him
Hey, CONCACAF Champions League. Go to a final, and maybe we can talk about it.
Nicola, that Seattle Sounders crap in was it 2019? Was it that they won it?
Yeah, 2020, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah.
All right.
Well, no, 2019. Excuse me. And then LAFC made the 2020. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, again, I appreciate you
All,
joining
all,
us.
all I'm trying to say is the West Coast deserves a little bit more respect out here. All right, this Miami bubble that I wish I lived in. You know, you guys are way too high off the mate. I think you're having too many asados out there. It must be nice to order a messy pizza, once in a while. Out
These are
here,
disgusting.
out here, we gotta live with tacos and burritos, baby, and we respect Landon Donovan. All right.
I ain't nobody respect Landon Donovan, man. No, I'm sure he was great in his
My
time,
point
but
is a hair trans. No, I'm just kidding.
I was gonna
All
say
right,
him and LeBron are both going bald.
well, we will be back tomorrow night for the post game. It's a late game. It's a 10:30 start,
Yeah.
so probably 12:30 or so post game. So if you're still up tomorrow night, join us for that. If not, just listen to us Thursday morning on your drive to work or whatever. We appreciate you hanging out with us. So if you're listening on audio, we appreciate you listening all the way to the end. Please leave us 5 stars, comment, review, all that good stuff. If you're watching on YouTube, thank you for watching all the way to the end. Please like, subscribe, share, tell your friends. And as always, for those of you guys in the chat, we appreciate you hanging out with us for the last hour and 5 minutes. And we will be back. Actually, Favian, have you ever answered the questions on this show?
Yeah, the toast and the
Yeah,
sideways.
okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Those are
Just
fun,
making
those are
sure.
fun.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. I appreciate you hanging out with us, and we will be back tomorrow night for the post-game show. So until the next one, have a good one.
See ya.